It's easy. Alrighty folks, this is kind of the spread as far as what you're going to need to install the new Yoshimura Alpha race exhaust for the 2020 Z650. You have the exhaust, you have the headers, you have this cross pipe to connect the actual muffler to the headers, and then you have this clamp or this bracket right here, along with some other miscellaneous parts that they give you. These are going to be basically replacing the old mounting bracket that was on the previous stock exhaust, and you're going to be using these washers and spacers to help install this guy here. And then you got some springs in there to attach everything on here, and the items that you're going to need are a 12mm socket, and that is going to be for the headers, the top part. And then other than that, they give you a spring tool to stretch the springs to connect them to the exhaust. And then you're going to need a 17mm for the O2 sensor right here. And then this is the bracket to hold the exhaust up. And for this, you are also going to need a 12mm socket as well. So without further ado, let's get to it. I would say is one of the most important steps before installing your exhaust is putting on a fresh pair of clean gloves, and don't touch anything greasy while you're handling your parts. If you do get any fingerprints or anything on these items, you will see them once the exhaust gets hot. So even be careful with handling anything greasy. Install them, be pretty careful, and then after all the parts are installed, just give them a good wipe down with a clean rag. And if you really want to go the extra mile, some isopropyl, and get off any grease or anything, that way you don't see it burned into your exhaust later on. These are the spacers and the extra parts that they give you with the new exhaust, and you will weasel them through here. You have one long bolt that goes all the way through, then you have your large spacer, then you have right here your small spacer, and then you'll have another small spacer that goes right here along with your mounting bracket. And this is where your bracket's actually going to mount for the muffler portion of the exhaust. Alright, so the very first step I'm going to do when installing the new exhaust here is I'm going to be taking the headers here. Keep the rubber bands on. It keeps the these bad boys held up while you're trying to put the screws and bolts and everything up to there. So I just kept them on. I felt like it was easier for me. Line them up with the holes up there, and then you can just, if you really think it's annoying, to show you, just rip your rubber band off and they fly free then. I do think it's a little more difficult if you do it that way, but to each their own, I guess. Just want to put one nut on, that way I could secure it up there so it won't fall at least. So we got one side kind of on halfway. There we go. Now that your exhaust is all nice and scratched up, you can go ahead and install it. I know you guys are going to say something about the way I'm ratcheting, but I just don't want to bang my ratchet up against my exhaust or my fender right here. So ratchet how you want, but that's the best way I found to do it. So whatever floats your boat or gets the job done, I guess. I'm assuming there's some type of spec to this, which I don't know what it would be, but I'm sure you could look it up online. I'm just going to give it a few ugga-duggas, which I don't recommend. Our 17mm, because that's what fits for our O2 sensor, and our O2 sensor is dangling right now, is going to screw inside that hole. I recommend giving it some twists the opposite way before you twist it in, otherwise it's going to get the wires all jumbled up. So twist it, I don't know, 5 or 6 times the opposite way before actually twisting it inside that O2 sensor hole. Again, I'm using a 17mm wrench for this right here. There we go. O2 sensor is on and tight. There we go. Next step, we're gonna put on that little cross-section pipe. Alright, one of the final steps here, guys, once we got O2 sensor in and the headers in, you gotta connect this little pipe to your muffler now. Now, it only goes in, well, I mean, I guess it does go in two ways. You got a smaller end here and a fatter end here. Now, the smaller end does fit, but really loose, so you're gonna want to use the fatter end inside there then. And now you're gonna want to match it up, kind of try to pre-fit it, or just give it a good old guess of how it's gonna look right there. So this is how the exhaust is gonna come out. So when you're looking at it, you want the angle going towards the Yoshimura logo here on here. There we go. And then if you want to also at the same time, you can connect your springs. And again, the springs are also going to help kind of line this up. So you have one spring here, connects. Now you'll never be able to, well, maybe you can if your fingers are strong like mine. But you never, or you're not really going to be able to use your fingers for this. They do give you a tool, which I seem to have misplaced mine or left it up on my workbench here. So you use this tool and you could use it to stretch the springs like so. Pull it and there you go. So, and as you can see, it kind of matches up that way, and you'll know this one goes here, matches up. Now we could insert this bad boy here. Careful. Don't want to scratch up that new carbon fiber. Connects. Use your spring stretcher. There you go. Your exhaust is all hooked up and sealed up, and technically we can go ahead and start it up right now, but there is still one more step. You got to install the clamp. So once we got everything all hooked up, you want to take your clamp here, and they give you a nut and bolt to go along with it, and it's going to go around the exhaust. You could see the shape it kind of fits, kind of has a certain shape to it there. And it's going to connect right here to that mounting bracket right there. It would be so much easier if you had two people, one on this side, just because the tire's a little bit in the way. You'll see this once you do it yourself. Looks like it's easy. It really does. And it really should be. You do want to make sure you do this right. As you can see, this has already fallen off, and you don't want that because then it's going to scratch up your muffler. Finally get that back bolt on. You're going to need two different 12 millimeters here so you can tighten it. One to hold the back side and then one to tighten it down. Again, just a few good ugga-duggas here. You should be good. I don't think that guy's going anywhere now. Should be good. And that's it. Your Yoshimura exhaust is fully installed now. Be careful when you're putting on that piece. I did scratch mine just a little bit right there. You won't be able to see it, but the only thing left to do now is to wipe it down. Again, if you want to use some isopropyl, you could do that just to make sure you get all the grease off. But other than that, the exhaust is fully installed on your 2020 Kawasaki Z650. I'm sure you could use this application towards other bikes similar, like the Ninja 650. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me, but it all is pretty self-explanatory and straightforward. If you guys like this type of video, be sure to smash the like button. If you have any questions or anything on how it went or along the process at all, be sure to ask me down in the comment section down below. I'll be answering any comments that people put down there. And if you like videos like this one, then subscribe to the channel. There's going to be more videos coming out like this. Alright guys, another thing you are going to want to do is take some like acetone or some type of alcohol of some sort, and just rub it on there a little bit. Ooh, that was a lot of it. Just make sure you get any oils or greases off. Like right there, that spot. I'm sure you all know how to stroke it well like that. Just squished my PB&J in my lunchbox. It's okay though. Nice welt job, Yoshi. We're gonna need a startup with it as well.